Reddit has officially gone public. The social media company made its debut on the New York Stock Exchange on Thursday with a share price of $34, the high end of the targeted range. Its share price puts Reddit's value at around $6.4 billion, which seems teeny tiny these days, which is what they were aiming for, but below the $10 billion valuation from a private fundraising round in 2021. We're recording this as trading is getting underway. How do you think it'll go?
Well, I voted with my wallet. I'm trying to get shares here. So, look, this is if J.P. Morgan and Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley could do this, this is what they would do. They themselves would find $100 million each and buy into the first trades and try and send the stock soaring. Because the IPO market has been in a deep thaw for 2 years. It's been some of the slowest 2-year period, 24-month period in several decades. Yesterday, the landing lights got lit by this company Astera. If a popular, or not a popular, but a well-known consumer internet brand, Reddit, gets a big pop, we're back in business, baby. And the amount of money that flows from the IPO market in terms of downstream, secondary, green shoe, follow-on, wealth management, all the shit, they create so much fees.
Let me push back here. This is an advertising company. This is not an AI company, first of all, which
Agreed.
is a little different. Just for people to be aware, Reddit sold, it's almost fully an advertising company, completely. $800 million in advertising. It's very small. It's like a Snapchat kind of situation. I think Snapchat's a lot bigger, actually. I think double, pretty sure. Reddit sold, just for people to be aware, just above 15 million shares in the offering, and existing shareholders sold another close to 7 million shares, taking some money off the table, I think, right away. And you were talking about Astera, A-S-T-E-R-A, for people who don't know. But it's a dry spell. There has been a dry spell in these things. Just so people are aware, Reddit's revenue was $804 million last year. It rose from $667 million, but it lost $90 million in almost $91 million, and the year before lost $159 million. It's trying to get into other businesses like data licensing. It got just around $66 million from Google in a data licensing deals to train these AI models. It got a query from the Federal Trade Commission for this. It's also, Steve told me he was, they're looking at commerce and other businesses besides advertising. And they think they have a good advertising story because it's safer because of contextual advertising and also because you can reach individuals. This is decentralized content moderation and decentralized groups. I don't know. I think it's an advertising business. So I think, and also the last thing is they're famous for Wall Street bets, and in Wall Street bets, they were betting they were going to short the stock. So there's a meme possibility here too, that the people that are on the site will try to work against it. And then the last thing, the moderators, some of the mods are getting shares, and not all of them liked it necessarily because this is a very noisy company among the people who run it. It's run by people who are volunteers and stuff. Anyway, it's a lot happening here. You still think because it's an ad business, and you know the ad business, that it'll mean as much.
So there's Reddit, the specific company, its performance, and how it performs in the market. And then there's a larger question about what it means, the IPO this morning of Reddit to the larger market. So let's talk about Reddit. You're right. It's an ad business. They basically have a series of boards and Redditors that manage those boards. They have unbelievable traffic, but they haven't really figured out, they don't have the ad stack and the business model to really monetize it the way other companies have run it. It's an $800 million business, not a big business. It grew 20% last year. It's still losing money. It's going out, or it's priced at about 8 times revenues, which draws sharp relief between, as you pointed out, an ad-based business and an AI business. The question surrounding Reddit is the following. They have the worst monetization of any platform that gets this kind of traffic. I think Meta gets something like 30 to 50 times the monetization per person on the platform as Reddit. Now, it's like my dad told me. I remember my dad telling me this when he was trying to test whether I'd be a good salesman. He's like, a salesman goes over to Africa, and this marks the time, this was the 70s, and he comes back, and one salesman goes, he's a shoe salesman. One salesman comes back and says, terrible market for us, nobody wears shoes here. Another salesman goes over and comes back and says, this is amazing, nobody has shoes. So the question is Reddit, is the fact that they have the worst monetization, given the traffic, an incredible opportunity if they figure that out? Or is it a company that's never been able to figure it out and is going to go nowhere? That's the question. But at $6.5 billion, a lot of people are about to take, I believe, that bet. Now, the bigger issue here is what it means for the market.
Would you buy Reddit? I don't buy into these things, so would you buy Reddit?
I'm trying to, yeah.
Oh, you are? Oh, you are.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. That's correct. So because you think that it's undervalued in that regard. Because I don't think people think that the data stuff is going to be the big moneymaker at all, the data stuff. And the commerce stuff is absolutely nascent. And like, I sell more T-shirts than they do, that kind of thing. So you think the $34 price share is what? Too much?
No.
Too little?
I'm buying for two reasons.
Okay.
The first is this could be. I think there is a ton of pent up demand. In 2021, there were 397 IPOs, and of those 397 IPOs, because a ton of them were SPACs and shit and caught up in the mania, 8 out of 10 of them, 82% of them, are trading below their IPO price, and the market feels burned and jilted. So as a result, in 2023, there were only 108 IPOs. The reason I'm investing in this is two reasons. One, I think that essentially it's a global brand. And two, it's the most traffic site in America that isn't owned by Alphabet. And it's trading, all of this set against a valuation of $6.5 billion. There are real issues, as you pointed out, with this company. They have not yet figured out a way to monetize anything resembling the fire hose of traffic they have. Right?
It's not that big. 500 million users, 76. He was focused in on the daily users, 76 million, and that they have this dispersed group of people so advertisers could reach, if you're in the skiing area and it's not ugly. They've really cleaned it up quite a bit compared to a Twitter where everyone's in the same pile of crap. Everybody's in the same feed or whatever. But go ahead. Sorry.
But there's a lot to not like about this company. They haven't figured out monetization. When I go on the site, it feels like, Lycos or Alta Vista called and wants their UI back. I don't think it's very elegantly done. But for $6.5 billion, a company that is, if you type in most traffic sites in the U.S., it goes Google, it goes YouTube, and then it's Reddit. And so, and also I think there's so much money on the sidelines hoping to get back into the IPO market. But if Reddit comes out at a healthy pop, we're off to the races again, Kara. You're going to see a ton of companies file, and the greed glands and the animal spirits are going to get going again. So Reddit is more important to investment banks and the IPO ecosystem and the broader market, I would argue, than almost any company in a while. This IPO has much bigger meaning and ramifications than just what shareholders of Reddit are going to garner.
In the midst of this, of all these things that are happening, two things interesting. One of the big winners could be Condé Nast's parent company, Advance, whose stake in Reddit will be worth around $1.4 billion. I don't think they can sell, though. Maybe they're selling a little bit of shares in the IPO. They might be among those sellers. They made a $10 million investment for Condé Nast to buy Reddit in 2006, and then they spun it out again. So this company got bought in and then spun out. It's been through a lot in the many years. The second thing, Reddit had to reveal the FTC is conducting an inquiry tied to the company's deals to license data, as we said. And then also Reddit, along with YouTube and Meta, also has been ordered by a New York State judge to face a lawsuit tied to that 2022 racially motivated shooting in Buffalo. The lawsuit claims the platforms helped radicalize the shooter and prepare him for an attack. Of course, the Supreme Court found differently when it was a Google case, so I'm not sure this will go anywhere. So there's all those things hanging around. So what will this set it off, or will something else set off the IPO market? Because Instacart didn't do very well. Others didn't do very well. You think this will set it off?
Like I said, the table's been set with Astera Labs up 72%. Mm-hmm. If a big consumer internet brand, Reddit, comes out at a healthy pop, the IPO market is back in business. Scott Galloway here, coming in with an update. Since we've taped, Reddit has begun trading. The stock opened at $47, and at its peak, the company had a market cap of, get this, $11 billion, and also ended up closing up, I think, around 45 or 50%. I would argue that essentially this is enormous for the markets, that this has turned the IPO market from sort of like blinking yellow to a luminant green. The IPO market, the animal spirits, I think, are back. In some, Astera Labs kind of illuminated the runway yesterday, and this big consumer internet brand, Reddit, landed the plane with a huge pop today. This is big for the markets. It's actually, the bigger part of the news here isn't a consumer media company up, whatever it was, 45 or 50%. The bigger story here is the IPO market, I believe, is back. The animal spirits are back. John Travolta is on the dance floor.